Hello, my name is Michael Thurber, and I am the artistic director at the Granite Theatre in Westerly, Rhode Island. And welcome to the Granite's virtual theater, where we're doing social media and online productions. Today's offering is The Diaries of Adam and Eve by Mark Twain. It's a wonderful script based on the first man and the first woman ever in the history of the world, and how they really feel about each other, and how they come to know and love each other very, very much. If you like what we're doing, and you want to see it continue, please consider making a tax-deductible donation to the Granite Theatre. Just go over to our website, granitetheatre.com, and right there on the home page you will see a button to donate any amount. Any amount of contribution is 100% tax deductible and also will be greatly appreciated. This show stars Jude Pescatello as Adam and Mania as Eve. I know you didn't come here to listen to me talk. Ladies and gentlemen, The Diaries of Adam and Eve by Mark Twain.
Saturday. I'm almost a whole day old now. I arrived yesterday. This is as it seems to me, and it must be so, for if there was a day before yesterday, I was not there when it happened, or I should remember it. I feel like an experiment. I feel exactly like an experiment.
Monday. The new creature with the long hair is a good deal in the way. It is always hanging around and following me about. I don't like this. I am not used to company. I wish it would stay with the other animals. Cloudy today, wind in the east. Think we shall have rain. Where did I get that word? I remember now. The new creature uses it.
Tuesday. I followed the other experiment around yesterday afternoon, at a distance, to see what it might be for, if I could. But I was not able to make out. I think it is a man. I'd never seen a man, but it looked like one. And I feel sure that that is what it is. I realize that I feel more curiosity about it than any of the other reptiles. It has no hips. It tapers like a carrot. And when it stands, it spreads itself apart like a derrick. Maybe it is architecture. I was afraid of it at first and started to run every time it turned around, for I thought it was going to chase me, but by and by I found it was only trying to get away. So after that I was not timid anymore, but tracked it along. Several hours, about 20 yards behind, which made it nervous and unhappy. At last, it was a good deal worried and climbed a tree. I waited a while, then gave it up and went home.
Sunday. Pulled through. This day is getting to be more and more trying. It was selected and set apart last November as a day of rest. I already had 6 of them per week before. This morning, found the new creature trying to clod apples out of that forbidden tree.
Tuesday. It's up in the tree again. Resting, apparently. Looks to me like a creature that is more interested in resting than anything else.
Sunday. Pulled through.
Wednesday. It has low tastes and is not kind. When I went there earlier this evening in the gloaming, it had crept down from the tree and was trying to catch the little speckled fishes that play in the pool. I had to clod it to make it go back up the tree again and let them alone. One of the clods took it back of the ear, and it used language. It gave me a thrill, for it was the first time that I had ever heard speech, except my own. I did not understand the words, but they seemed expressive. When I found it could talk, I felt I had a new interest in it. For I love to talk. I talk all day. And in my sleep, too.
Wednesday. I wish it would not talk. It is always talking right at my shoulder, right at my ear. I am used only to sounds that are more or less distant from me.
Next Sunday. All week I tagged around after him and tried to get acquainted. I had to do the talking because he was shy. But I didn't mind it. He seemed pleased to have me around, and I used the sociable we a good deal because it seemed to flatter him to be included.
Thursday. She told me she was made out of a rib taken from my body. This is at least doubtful, if not more than that. I have not missed any rib.
Monday. This morning I told him my name, hoping it would interest him. But he did not care for it. It is strange. If he should tell me his name, I would care. I think it would be pleasanter in my ears than any other sound.
Monday. The new creature says its name is Eve. That is all right. I have no objections. Says it is to call it by when I want it to come. I said it was superfluous. Well, this word evidently raised me in its respect, and indeed it is a large, good word and will bear repetition. It says it is not an it is a she. This is probably doubtful, yet it is all one to me. What she is were nothing to me if she would but go by herself and not talk.
Tuesday. No. He took no interest in my name. I tried to hide my disappointment, but I suppose I did not succeed. I went away and sat on the moss bank with my feet in the water. It is where I go to when I hunger for companionship. Someone to look at. Someone to talk to. It's not enough that lovely white body painted there in the pool, but it is something. And something is better than utter loneliness.
Sunday. Pulled through.
Wednesday. We are getting along very well indeed now, and getting better and better acquainted. He does not try to avoid me anymore, which is a good sign, and shows that he likes to have me with him.
Friday. She has taken to beseeching me to stop going over the falls. What harm does it do? Says it makes her shudder. I wonder why. I went over the falls in a barrel, not satisfactory to her. Went over in a tub, still not satisfactory. Swam the whirlpool and the rapids in a fig leaf suit. It got much damaged. Hence, tedious complaints about my extravagance. I am too much hampered here. What I need is a change of scene.
Wednesday. During the last day or two, I have taken all the work of naming things off his hands. This has been a great relief to him, for he has no gift in that line and is evidently very grateful. He can't think of a rational name to save him, but I do not let him see that I am aware of his defect. Whenever a new creature comes along, I name it before he has time to expose himself with an awkward silence. The minute I set eyes on an animal, I know what it is. When the dodo came along, he thought it was a wildcat. I saw it in his eye, but I saved him. I just spoke up in a quite natural way, with pleased surprise, not as if I was dreaming of conveying information, and said, "Well, I do declare, if there isn't the dodo."
Wednesday. I get no chance to name anything myself. The new creature names everything that comes along before I can get in a protest. And always the same pretext is offered. It looks like the thing. There is the dodo, for instance. Says the moment one looks at it, one sees at a glance that it looks like a dodo. Dodo. Looks no more like a dodo than I do.
Friday. My first sorrow. Yesterday, he avoided me and seemed to wish I would not talk to him. I could not believe it, and thought there was some mistake, for I loved to be with him and loved to hear him talk. And how could it be that he could feel unkind toward me when I had not done anything? But at last it seemed true, so I went away and sat lonely in the place where I first saw him the morning that we were mated. And I did not know what he was and was indifferent to him. But now it is a mournful place, and every little thing spoke of him, and my heart was very sore. I did not know why very clearly, for it was a new feeling. I had not experienced it before, and it was all a mystery, and I could not make it out. But when night came, I could not bear the lonesomeness and went to the new shelter which he has built to ask him what I had done and that was wrong, and how I could mend it and get back his kindness again. But he put me out in the rain, and it was my first sorrow.
Friday. I built myself a shelter against the rain, but could not have it to myself in peace. The new creature intruded. When I tried to put it out, it shed water out of the holes it looks with, wiped it away with the back of its paws, and made a noise such as some of the other animals make when they are in distress. She has taken up with the snake now. The other animals are glad, for she was always experimenting with them and bothering them. And I am glad because the snake talks. And this enables me to get a rest.
Sunday. It is pleasant again now, and I am happy. But those were heavy days. I do not think of them when I can help it. I tried to get him some of those apples, but I cannot learn to throw straight. I failed, but I think the good intention pleased him. They are forbidden, and he says I shall come to harm. But so I come to harm through pleasing him. Why shall I care for that harm?
Wednesday. About an hour after sunup, I was riding through a flowery plain where thousands of animals were grazing, slumbering, or playing with each other, according to their wont. All of a sudden, they broke into a tempest of frightful noises, and in one moment the plain was a frantic commotion, and every beast was destroying its neighbor. I knew what it meant. Eve had eaten that fruit, and death was coming to the world. I looked up, and there was Eve. I was not sorry she came, for there are but meager pickings here, and she had brought me some of those apples. I was obliged to eat them. I was so hungry. It was against my principles, but I find that principles have no real force except for one is well fed. She came curtained in boughs and bunches of leaves, and when I asked her what she meant by such nonsense and snatched them away and threw them down, she tittered and blushed. I had never seen a person titter and blush before, and to me it seemed unbecoming and idiotic. She said I myself would soon know why it was thus. This was correct. Hungry as I was, I laid down the apple, half eaten, certainly the best one I ever saw considering the lateness of the season, and arrayed myself in the discarded boughs and branches, and then spoke to her with some severity, and ordered her to go and get some more and not to make such a spectacle of herself. She did. And afterward, we crept down to where the wild beast battle had been and collected some skins. And I made her patch together a couple of suits proper for public occasions. They are uncomfortable, that is true, but stylish. And that is the main point about clothes. I find she is a good deal of a companion. I see I should be lonesome and depressed without her. Another thing she says, it is ordered that we work for our living hereafter. She will be useful. I will superintend.
Friday, I tried once more to persuade him to stop going over the falls. That was because the fire which I had discovered had revealed to me a new passion, quite new and distinctly different from love and grief and those others which I had already discovered. Fear. And it is horrible.
Friday. Perhaps I ought to remember that she is a very young and mere girl and make allowances. She is all interest, eagerness, vivacity, the world to her a charm, a wonder, a mystery, a joy. She cannot speak for delight when she finds a new flower. No, she must pet it and caress it and smell it and talk to it and pour out endearing names upon it. And she is color mad. Brown rocks, yellow sand, gray moss, foliage, blue sky, pearl of the dawn. None of them is of any particular value so far as I can see. And she loses her mind over them. If she could but quiet down and keep still a couple of minutes at a time, it would be a reposeful spectacle. In that case, I think I could enjoy looking at her. Indeed, I am sure I could, for I am coming to realize that she is a quite remarkably comely creature. Lithe, slender, trim, rounded, shapely, nimble, graceful. And once when she was standing marble white and sun-drenched on a boulder, with her young head tilted back and her hand shading her eyes, watching the flight of a bird in the sky, I recognized she was beautiful.
After fall, when I look back, the garden is a dream to me. It was beautiful, surpassingly beautiful, enchantingly beautiful. Now it is lost, and I shall not see it anymore. The garden is lost. I have found him, and am content. He loves me as well as he can. I love him with all the strength of my passionate nature, and this I think is proper to my youth and sex. If I ask myself why I love him, I find I do not know. I love certain birds because of their song, but I do not love Adam on account of his singing. No, it is not that. The more he sings, the more I do not get reconciled to it. Yet, I ask him to sing, because I wish to learn to like everything he is interested in. His singing sours the milk, but it doesn't matter. I can get used to that kind of milk. It is not on account of his gracious and considerate ways and his delicacy that I love him. No. He has lacks in these regards, but he is well enough just so, and is improving. It is not on account of his chivalry that I love him. No, it is not that. He told on me. But I do not blame him. It is a peculiarity of sex, I think. And he did not make his sex. Of course, I would not have told on him. I would have perished first, but that is a peculiarity of sex too, and I do not take credit for it, for I did not make my sex. Then why is it that I love him? Merely because he is masculine, I think. At bottom, he is good, and I love him for that. He is strong and handsome, and I love him for that, and I admire him for that, and I'm proud of him, but I could love him without those qualities. If he were plain, I should love him. And I would work for him and slave over him and pray for him and watch by his bedside until he died. Yes, I think I love him merely because he is mine and masculine. There's no other reason, I suppose. This kind of love is not a product of reasonings and statistics. It just comes. None knows whence and cannot explain itself and doesn't need to. It is what I think. I am only a girl and the first that has examined this matter, and it may turn out that in my ignorance and inexperience, I have not got it right.
"10 years later. After all of these years, I see that I was mistaken about Eve in the beginning. It is better to live outside the garden with her than inside it without her. At first I thought she talked too much, but now I should be sorry to have that voice fall silent and pass out of my life. Blessed be the goodness of her heart and the sweetness of her spirit."
"40 years later. It is my prayer, it is my longing that we may pass from this life together. A longing which shall never perish from the earth, but shall have a place in the heart of every wife that loves until the end of time, and it shall be called in my name. But if one of us must go first, it is my prayer that it shall be I. For he is strong and I am weak. I am not so necessary to him as he is to me. Life without him would not be life. How could I endure it? This prayer is also immortal and will not cease from being offered up while my race continues. I am the first wife, and in the last wife I shall be repeated.
At Eve's grave, wheresoever she was, there was Eden.